Windows, I have, this time I have taken care of that. So I have a Windows machine running in my desktop, okay? And if you just want to see how it looks like, here is my virtual box. This is virtual box running, okay? And here I have created a VM virtual machine, which is running CentOS. You see this? This is Cent operating system, CentOS, okay? So this is running here, and I have, you can use putty to access it. If you don't want to do it simple, you can access the using a tool called putty. And this is what, if you're a Windows user, use the putty to access it. And these are all there already in some of my videos, so that I'm not spending time now to explain it. Okay, please, if you have time, just follow. Maybe I'll give a link in my GitHub repository. I'll put a link so that you can follow that if you want to. But this is a VM. Now I have logged into the VM. So this is, I expect that you know it, because this is what I have already covered last time, okay? So, and if you're a Windows user, you can use putty. If you're a Mac user, directly you can use your terminal to connect to your VM, right? So the best way will be to create a separate folder for this course. So I have created like Kubernetes dev is a separate folder. You see here, I have created this so that all your code will be inside this, okay? So what I'll do is I'll I'll do SSH secure shell. My IP address of the VM is 192.168.1.104, and my username is pnac. So I did SSH pnac at the IP address, and I am connecting to my VM from here, okay? And now you see here, this is connected, okay? Can you see it? If the text is clear enough?
Yeah, yeah.
Good. Okay. After this, what happens is how to install Docker, because the VM is created. As for this, install the Docker. Okay. So here I have given again another command. If you want to follow here, how to install Docker. It's a simple one-line command. If you don't have to struggle, you don't have to learn anything. This is a simple script Docker itself provides. Okay, it's a script. If you see here, if you do a wget of here also, you'll see that it's a script. Even if you browse it here, you'll see actually it is a script. You see it? I simple used a web browser. This is a shell script. Okay, and it is provided by Docker. So if you just run this in your terminal, you're going to install it. So simple, what you do is copy paste the whole thing. I did a call because it's HTTPS. So I used secure shell, SSL, call SSL, and pipe it to bash so that bash can run the code. Or you can do a wget, download the script and run it. You can do that. But this is one line command which will simple run. I have already run it. I don't have to because it will spoil my existing Docker environment. So I don't have to run it. Okay. But if you simple copy and paste it and hit enter, you are going to install Docker in your VM. That's all. One line command. Okay. And then what happens is once it's over, what you'll do is, I think last time I showed, that's why you have to have whatever next one. Okay. Then, okay, this is what I have given already. Then you have to add, there will be a group created called Docker. A Docker group will be created. user group. So you, whatever may be the username, you have to add yourself to that group so that you will be able to run the Docker commands. Okay. Otherwise, you will not be able to, though it will run, but you will not be able to access it. So first add yourself user merge to the Docker group, and pnaik is my username. Okay. So you can just change your username and add to Docker. And this is the command again, just to start the Docker daemons or process, you can say. In Linux world, they are called daemons. So sudo system control enable Docker now, means just start it. And that's all. These three commands will give you complete Docker running in your system. And after that, how it looks like, let's run. Because I didn't do that. I have already done it to save the time. It will take some time, obviously, to download. Okay. So let's see. Once you do that, simple log out and log in again, because to take effect so that you are in the group, because when you are adding yourself to the group, obviously if you don't log out, it will not, you will not be able to be in the group. So just log out and log in. That's all. Then hit Docker, simple Docker. You can see Docker itself is a command, and Docker -v, if you see what is the words, you see the version. If this is executes, that means you are good. If it does not execute, that means something is wrong. Okay. And Docker ps, see what are the processes, what are the containers running. Ps is the command to know the processes, right, in Linux. So it is simple. Docker ps is to know which are the containers running. Okay. So this is about installation. This is over. 3 commands, Docker installation is done. Trust me.
So what is that group you said? Is it so when you install Docker, it will create a group, then you have to add your own
Yes.
user to that group? Okay.
Yeah. So it will automatically, when you execute this command, it will automatically create a Docker group, user group. Okay. And this command is nothing but adding yourself to that group.
Okay.
Okay. This command sudo user mod -a capital G is group. So that means Docker is the group, and you add pnaik into it.
Okay. So
So that,
what is the Windows command? Sudo is basically
no, Windows
same thing.
is not, you don't have the command. You have to install, if you want to run in Windows, you have to install completely Docker package. It's separate, it comes as a separate application. Okay. So that is, Windows containers are a bit different than Linux containers.
Okay. 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 Got
So
it.
in fact, they are not interoperable also. So normally all the cloud platforms, they support Linux containers.
Okay. Got it.
Some, they do support Windows, but mostly people don't use Windows containers on container environment. That's why I'm focusing on Linux. But you
Yeah.
can, by the way, I am accessing from Windows system. Okay, just that's for, like, if you go here, this is my Windows, right? So now I logged into that Docker ps. So I am accessing the Windows, sorry, I am accessing the Linux machine from Windows using
Okay.
putty. Okay. So
Okay.
this is the Windows system from which I am accessing the Linux. Okay. And using the ps command, if you see Docker ps or Docker images, sorry. So this will give me what are the images present in the local repository. So there are 2 terms here called local repository, Docker local repository, and remote repository. So like a Docker Hub is a remote repository of all the Docker images. And when I write when I write a command called Docker images, it will show me which are all the Docker images are created, either created or downloaded to my local repository. So if you see here, MySQL, WordPress, and CentOS HTTPD, this is actually web server. 1 minute. So because this is small, so I'll go back to here so that you can see properly. Same thing, commands are same. All the Docker
Mm.
commands are same anywhere you go. Docker ps, see, Docker images, you see here,
Yeah.
okay? So MySQL, and I can delete it actually. In fact, I can just, as any other thing, I can Docker RMI, it is called image, RMI, remove image, MySQL. It's deleted. So Docker images, you see it's not there. Similarly, Docker RMI, because I already did something here, so I am deleting it so that I'll make it clean. You can see it, Docker RMI WordPress. Okay, for the images. Okay, no, okay. Okay, nothing is there now. It's clean,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
So same thing. I have given a set of commands here just to practice yourself. Basic Docker commands, what it does, how it looks like. Docker PS is to find out which are the running containers. Docker container ls also is same thing. You can find which are the containers running. Docker ps minus a, which are all not running but just stopped to see. You can see ps minus a. Docker images will give all the images present in the local repository. You can stop a running container using Docker stop. You can remove a container using Docker RM. You can delete a image using RMI, and you can run a container using the following command, Docker run, and Docker attach, Docker execute, Docker volume, if you want to. So these are the different terms. Obviously, I will tell when we are really going forward. One by one, I'll tell exactly what they are. Right now, I don't want to just put into theories into your brain so that like kids, you will remember all these things. But I want you practice and remember. That's the rather better way to remember. Okay. So running simple, I'll run a simple WordPress container. Or this is, okay, I'll not go directly to WordPress. I'll running a simple web server. I'll give a demo. Today we are already 43 now. So I'll, in this slide will stop possibly. I'm running a simple web server using container. How fast I can do that? Because if you want to really run a, create a web server, what do you need? You need operating system. Obviously we have it, and we have to download the package, and we have to have everything downloaded, then configure it and run it. But with this simple one command, I can run a container with the web server and its content. I can run it. I'll explain it each and everything, but let's quickly run it and jump into it. Simple. Let's go ahead and I'll copy it, which you have, by the way, in your, you can take it from here. I have given this command also. You see here, just copy it and paste it here. So I'll explain each and every stage what it's doing. You see here, Docker, command is Docker, subcommand is run. That means we're giving the Docker a command called yes, you have to run it. I'll say what is DIT. It is detached. I is for interactive, T is for terminal. You put a pseudo terminal to it. And I'm giving a name which is going to run. I sample big BOC web. I gave big open cloud web. Port number, I'm assigning a port number and mapping that port number. It is called 80 and 80. Why there are two A's? Because they each Docker has its own port. So okay, I hope we all know what is a port. So, and each host operating system also has a port then, right? So then you cannot directly touch or the call or the connect to the container, because it is, we are only out to the outside world. It is the operating system which is the host. So we can only reach to the host, right? We cannot reach to the container directly. But so this is, first one is the host port, which will reach, and that is being connected or mapped to this port of the container. So HTTP, because this is a web server which runs port number 80, so I'm mapping the container port into the host port. And also in the same -p -v, I'm mapping to a volume, host volume, to a container volume. And which container I'm running? The container, the image rather, I want to run this one. That means when I put this one, a name, always by default, it points to Docker Hub by default. So that means I expect that CentOS /httpd image should be present inside Docker Hub. And you can check it also, it is there. And you simple go to Docker Hub, you can run only publicly available images, by the way. So these are there are two types of public registry, Docker registry servers. One is public and is private. So Docker Hub is a public container registry server. So we Docker Hub, hub.docker.com. If you go, you see here, you can create a username, but if you want to just put HTTPD, search it. And you see here CentOS, right? And just put maybe CentOS also. Okay, you see this is there. So I just I intend to download this to my host and run it. So simple, same thing I did. I just give a name. So when you don't give any URL, by default, it always points to Docker Hub. Okay. So if I run it, what it does, you see it is downloading. And which one is downloading? It is downloading from Docker Hub. Previously, we saw that there was no image. You see this image, this command does not return any image. But now if I run the same Docker images, you see it? It's 250 MB, which was created 2 years ago. And it was put into Docker Hub. And this 250 MB Docker container, the Docker image was downloaded to my local machine, and it's now saved. And it's also running. Okay. And you see, there is a WordPress directory also. It got created in the, if you see here, my pnayak ls, if you see here, there is a WordPress also, it got created. Because this is a folder, I expect it to be there. Now, because where www.html is the web server's, that's called root directory. So let's see what is there. Now, I can actually browse. If it's a web server is running, then I should be able to browse it. So what is my IP? Config -a gives me my IP, and it's 192.168.1.104. So if I browse it, I should be able to browse my web server 192.168.1.104. You see here, it's running, but there is nothing because it's a simple fresh web server running. So now, then how to put data into it? It's simple running. But you see here my command. That's why if you see here, my previous command, what I executed is I mapped to the folder of the container, that is where, if you know, if you are a system admin, you must have some idea that a web server, when it runs in Linux, whatever in this folder or directory is always displayed. That is inside the container. But now I am mapping that container directly to my local directory called home pnac WordPress. So it's always mapped as long as the container is running. So if I put something into WordPress, you see here, okay, this is there, and there's something data we also created. Okay, this is previously I did it. So, but it is not for, it will create confusion. Let me delete it because this is, I didn't expect this should be there. Okay, and forget about this Docker compose. Simple, what I'll do is I'll create simple vi index. You know that in a HTML language, in HTML world, web server world, it always look for by default as index file. So simple, I'll do it. This is my test web server index.html. I put this. Now, if I simply refresh it, you see here, this is my test web server. Whatever I put in that file, it came here. This is my web server I'm browsing, and if I put any HTML code here inside, simple, maybe put simple each one header. If I refresh it, let's see what happens. Right? So I can put any HTML code here and it will be displayed. Maybe so this is small demo how a web server you run with one command. If you see here, let docker ps, if you see here, there is something running. What is that? This Docker image is running. You see here, this is the image and this is the container. So it has got a container ID now. This has image name, image, which image is running and which container ID it has got, and the name which I gave, VOC web, right? So I'll put it a little smaller. You see now, container ID, image, name, and 4 minutes ago it ran, and it has a port number which is mapped 80 to host 80, and it has a name. That's all. So what is the time now? It is going, we have already 1.5 hours we have covered. Okay, we started late today, but I'll stop it here, and next session then I'll try to be a bit more faster, and we'll try to cover whatever remaining. I'll actually cover a actual WordPress container I'll run, and that I'll do by a another Docker important command and util called dockercompose, where you can run multiple containers at a time. So here I will show that how a whole application, 3-tier, maybe 2-tier application can be run in one command, or one, if you run simple create a Docker compose file, and you can run your MySQL server, and you can run your web server, and they'll communicate with each other. And I have a sample file for that. Simple, just you have to do is you have to write a configuration file. That's all actually you need to run the whole application. This is what it takes. I'll exactly tell here. I have possibly given also. Uh, okay, in that, what is that? This here, if you go to Kubernetes dev lesson 1, you will find a Docker compose YML file also there. So if you go there, you'll see that you only need this file. It's nothing but a configuration file. For once you write this and you run Docker, just to show you quickly how easily I can run it. I'll explain it later possibly. Now let me delete it first. My my server which is running, Docker stop, just take this container ID, paste it, and you stop it. So just, it is called Docker stop. Before deleting, you have to stop it. So Docker stop, and it will stop the running container. Now same thing, Docker maybe RM, and put the same container ID, and it is deleted. Now if you Docker PS, nothing will be there. Okay. So now Docker, sorry, it is Docker images. You see here, still the image is there. Let me delete it. Docker RMI, and I'll give the RMI image ID. Now same image is not there. It is ready. Nothing is there. Again, it is clean.
No,
Now,
but you deleted first, right? How come it is there?
Deleted the website. Which one? I deleted the running container, not the image.
Oh,
So
okay.
RM and RMI are two different commands. RM is Docker container, delete the container. Okay. RMI is
So
delete the
first you have
image.
to delete the container, then image, or vice
Yeah,
versa?
obviously. Without that, it will not allow you to delete the image.
Image, okay.
As long as it's running, it will not allow you to, because it will be the source code of that container is the image, right? So it will not allow you to delete the image if the container is running. Okay. So now it is clean. Now I have a file called here. If you I'll remove index again so that it becomes clean. Okay. Now vi docker compose. If you see here, this is the file which I have given in the, okay, this file. Okay, just to understand, it is downloading the image of MySQL, it is downloading the image of WordPress, and they are working together. So multiple containers. So what I'll do is I'll run it just for quick demo. Docker compose is the command. Up -d is detached, so that it comes. So it is downloading both the images quickly. So see, it is called pulling the MySQL. And it now downloading, pulling the WordPress. So it is downloading from, again, Docker Hub, because I have not given any URL particularly. So it is not downloading from any private registry server. It is downloading from a public registry server, which is by default, by the way, is called Docker Hub.
So is it basically executing that YML file?
Yes, it is, because that is what is the nothing but giving a Docker compose is taking the direction from that file that what to do. So now if you see, it created a DB component. If you see here, Docker PS, you see there are two containers running, by the way. Okay, so you see here, I'll make it again smaller a little bit. Okay, this is one, which is WordPress, and this is the DB component, because WordPress needs a database. So it is, and this is MySQL latest, and this is the WordPress. So, and you see it is running again, same server, port 80, right? So I'll just go, maybe the same server, I'll just refresh. If I refresh, where is that? Here. No, it is actually another port. I have given in another, I have given it to run in 8000 port. Rather than that, here if you see, okay, I'm mapping port 8000, not 80. Okay, so it depends upon which port you are mapping. So I'll browse through the 8000 port, and you see here,
Yeah.
okay? So you can set it up quickly just to see test site, username admin, and give some password, password 1, confirm with password, and maybe I'll give my own email ID, discourage from install WordPress. Yes, done. It says WORD 1. Yes, okay. You see, WordPress installed within just one command, and you can do whatever you want, like themes. In fact, my site is based on WordPress. So
Mm.
everything is, you can just buy the theme, and or you want to put some theme, and you can just what is activate this theme, and whatever you want you do. And just let's browse it. If you browse, in fact, what it is, you see this, it's just another site we created in just one command. So that's the advantages of containers. So today we'll stop here, and we'll start with demo, but I'll cover this again next class in more details. Okay, so I'll stop the sharing here. And any question? I know we took time. Any question? I'll take some time to answer questions.
Until this is Shama, I have one question, maybe a basic one.
Yeah.
So
No,
when you
nothing is
talk,
basic. Everything is important.
so when you were explaining the Docker, you said that once you deploy it, right, you cannot do any changes. So does that mean that when you are modifying any code, does that mean I have to destroy the Docker and post deployment redeploy, or am I thinking it wrong way?
Yes, you actually, when you want to modify it, you cannot modify it, as I said. Once it is packaged, the image which we saw here, you see here, um, okay, Docker image. Oh, okay, I'm not sharing, sorry. I'll share it again. You see here, Docker images, right? The MySQL. It was created by somebody, and he has pushed into Docker Hub. I'm using it. I cannot modify it. Okay.
Okay.
I cannot modify this. This is who created, he created once all, it is unmodifiable. But I can actually run it, and then the running instance, from the running instance, I can add something to it. And from that running instance, I can create a new one.
Okay.
That may be called MySQL 1.2.
So you're just taking that kind of image of that and making changes and redeploying.
Yeah, so now I can actually enter into this MySQL environment. Maybe I can add maybe a new library or something. Then what I'll do is I'll repackage it and recreate that image, but still this MySQL will be there. This MySQL will be always there as long as I'm not deleting it.
Okay,
Then it
got it.
will appear whatever name you gave, maybe MySQL 1.2, 3, whatever, that will be also there. So the original one is there, but you created another one putting some more layers to it. That's what I said. It is immutable. Once it is created, you cannot modify it, but you can only add something to it and recreate another from that original one.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you.
If not anything, we'll stop here today. It's 8:05, so 1.5 hours. But thanks for joining, and see you in the next next Sunday again.